I have officially destroyed my productivity.
I have no right to love
you. So if I make a video about the thing I spent hours playing on, it counts as work, right? This is a cute little handheld emulator. It's the Anbernic RG353V. It's cute. It's a cute little handheld. I've been loving my time on it. Absolutely loving my time. It's a handheld emulator. It can run retro games, basically. It's a little guy that runs retro games. Honestly, there are tons of these on the market. There's tons, and they're all in sort of like different form factors, basically. So it kind of just comes down to preference. And this is my preference. This layout, this is fun, right? This is great. I mean, I think there's more powerful emulators out there, and a lot of them look like Nintendo Switches, but I don't know. I know me. I know what I like. I know how I like to sit as well. I know how I like to position myself. I know what's comfortable for me. Honestly, this is just more comfortable. It's just more comfortable. Like this, it's more comfortable. I don't have it's arm. It's just more comfy, dude. This is how I lie down. Don't judge me. So everyone has their own shtick of how they like to unwind. I'm the kind of guy that just likes to replay the same games they've played over and over again. It's stuff I can be like immersed in and not really have to think. So replaying old retro games is great. I think the main reason why I'm really keen on the handheld is I don't have to sit at my PC. I can sit on my sofa. I can be comfy. I can be wherever. Also, if I'm sat on my sofa, I can watch brainless TV at the same time I'm playing my brainless games. Hardware-wise, this thing is pretty solid. It feels substantial. The screen, I think, is kind of the perfect size/resolution for what you need it for. Like, you don't need a high resolution. Because that, you don't need a massive screen. Games look great on it. And honestly, I'm surprised at how bright this thing gets. Like, I've played in like sunlight and it's still visible. We've come a long way from like Game Boy Advance games where you're struggling in the sunlight and having to find shade to play your game. The buttons themselves are like pretty clicky. The front buttons are great. Even the analog sticks, full motion, and they click in and work as buttons. The back triggers, hear that? They are a little bit shaky. I've seen other people complain about the layout and saying it's hard. I've personally not had an issue with it. Maybe it's just because I've got like long, gangly fingers and I can reach around. But otherwise, feels super solid. It's a good weight too. I mean, it's because it's got a big ass battery in it. It's got like I don't know. It's big. It's big. So if you're playing like Game Boy games, it's gonna last forever. Obviously, if you're playing like a more intense game that requires more intense emulation, won't last as long. If the screen's brighter, it won't last as long. But like, if you're playing some old Game Boy games, it will last a long time. The only other stuff on this, it's got USB-C charging on the bottom, and then on the top here, it's got some funky stuff. Headphone jack, naturally. But then it's also got a mini HDMI, so you can connect it up to a TV if you want. But for me, that kind of defeats the whole point of the handheld. But then you can also connect in like a controller in this USB-C port. You can connect external controllers, so you can even run multiplayer on this if you wanted to. But for me, I just want the handheld. I don't need to faff around with those two.
Oh, as I'm kneeling right here by your side,
Now, when you start doing research on like handheld emulators, you'll stumble into like lots of like software tutorials and people going, oh, to get the most out of your handheld, you're gonna need to install this firmware and this software and all games run. You don't need to. I've been running just the stock operating system on this, the stock Linux-based whatever it came with, emulators all set up, and it's been great. I haven't had to install any softwares, I've just added the games, and it's been fine. So don't let that put you off. I mean, I'm sure there's probably fancy things I can do, and I can get a nice, sexy front end to the games, but this is all I need, honestly. Like, I just need to go through and look at my games. I don't need this to look nice. I just need it to show me what I'm about to play. Because once you're in the game, it doesn't matter what the front end looks like, does it? Really? Now, there are two versions of this specific device. One slightly less RAM, only runs Linux, and the one I've got slightly more RAM and also runs Android. And I wanted the Android one because I wanted to run Steam Link. I'm a big fan of Steam Link. I've used it in the past. I've run it on my iPad. I've run it on my TV. However, let me tell you, this specific boy has some goddamn shit Wi-Fi. Steam Link in the past has been perfect, seamless. This thing drops signal like it's fucking lubed up chicken. It's unplayable, to be honest. Like, of course, when I'm trying to demo it lagging, it's not lagging at all, and it's working perfectly fine. That said, honestly, most like newer PC titles, this screen's a bit too small for it. Let's be real. This screen is a bit too small to run modern titles. It just hasn't got the resolution for it. It's only like 480p. And most modern games I'd want to run on a nice big screen anyway to appreciate them. But yeah, I've gone through this whole video without really talking about what it's for. It's for emulation, and it does it. It does emulation. I haven't talked about it because there's not much to touch on. It does emulation, and it does it well. Anything up to PS1, N64. It does DS and PSP as well. It works, man. It just works. From what I've played on it, everything seems to run pretty seamlessly. There are a few more demanding games which have a little bit of stutter, but other than that, it's been great. It's been great. But yeah, if you're a little nostalgia sucker like me, honestly look into something like this. You'll kill plenty of hours.